Welcome to Our Highest Work, a podcast where we are exploring the best ideas for spiritually based business success. My name is George Cow, and this episode may actually be the final audio podcast episode. However, I will continue to do the YouTube videos. It just won't be uploaded to the audio podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, mobile app, etc. And I'm going to explain why. This episode is to me quite important. Well, on a number of levels. One reason why this is important is that it's about prioritizing our time, prioritizing our marketing strategies, our legacy strategies. So I hope you'll find this episode useful. I do have a tool to show you that I welcome you to use, and let's get going. So what I have for you is actually a spreadsheet that I started using for myself just last week, in fact, and it has been so helpful for me that I wanted to do this episode. The spreadsheet helps me to, in the spreadsheet I list all the different marketing strategies that I have used or am using or were seriously considering using, and then I start to score them based on a number of factors, such as enjoyment. You know, does it bring me energy, and do I feel alive when I do it? Is it unique? Is this something only I can do, or is it something that's easily delegatable to other people? Does it cost? How much time does it take? How useful is it for search engine optimization? How useful is it for the long view of a civilization? You know, I like thinking sometimes in that view and sort of my legacy there. So let me show you this tool. I'll just kind of get going here. And what I hope you'll get from this episode is finally a tool and a way to get rid of the overwhelm of all the different marketing strategies. Hopefully, after this, watching this episode and implementing it, you will get clarity on, oh my gosh, so here are the 3 strategies that I'm going to use because they are the best for me and my business and my goals. Or here are the 5, or here are the 10 if you're really, really ambitious. So without further ado, let me actually show you the spreadsheet. Now I want to say, you know, don't be nervous as you look at the spreadsheet. We're going to take it step by step, and by the end of this episode, hopefully you will feel comfortable using this tool yourself. And as always, I'm open to your questions, so please feel free to post your questions below this video anytime as you're watching this, and I'll do my best to answer when I can. Okay. In fact, answering questions is part of my marketing and legacy strategies, and you'll see that in the spreadsheet as well. So here we go. You're going to see the spreadsheet in just, let's see here. I have this new presenting to everyone. Okay. All right. This is actually Google Hangout has a new thing that says presenting to everyone, so I'm hoping that you can see the spreadsheet as well. Okay, so let's take a look here, and okay, so I'm going to take you through this step by step. Okay, so first of all, cell A1, and again, those of you who are listening to this audio podcast, I'm going to try to talk you through everything, but I really do recommend that you watch this video if you can. And you can find this video at youtube.com/ourhighestwork. Okay, so I think about marketing in terms of 2 things, in terms of content creation and in terms of client enrollment. And if you didn't watch one of my previous videos where I talk about benevolent marketing, you might want to watch that one to get my full perspective on this. But I really believe that if we separate our time in terms of thinking about producing the work that is most important for us to produce in this life, thinking about our legacy, thinking about what we can give to the world to be most helpful to the world, and even when we're gone, what is most helpful to the world, that is what I called content creation or legacy creation, okay? And then we need to spend some time doing that because that fulfills our soul and it allows us to be fully liberated in creating content that is of truest to our hearts, truest to our passions, and of the most help to the world, okay? So that's what I call content creation. And the other thing that we should spend our time doing is client enrollment. The things that, whoops, I somehow, okay, all right. The things that actually help pay our bills, okay, enrolling clients in our program. And if you have a clear understanding that these two are separate activities, you will be fully liberated to do both things. Let me say this again. If you conflate the two things, if you're trying to do content marketing, in other words, if you're trying to create content that's great for the world, that you're truly trying to give and help the world in the greatest way possible, and at the same time you have an ulterior motive to enroll people into your program or your services, you will always have this subconscious conflict. This conflict of interest is basically what it is. Versus what I do now is I separate the two. I say, hey, am I right now creating content that is my legacy, or am I trying to sell you into my program or my services? I'm clear right now I'm not trying to sell you into anything. Okay, my YouTube video, my YouTube channels, and my podcast was to give. And sometimes I had a conflict there, and when I had a conflict, I wasn't truly effective at creating content, and I wasn't truly effective at enrolling people into my services. Do you see the difference there? So when you separate the time, you become much more effective at each one, and you become much more fulfilled and much more profitable. Okay? So let's look first at client enrollment, because I know that most of you are concerned about your finances and how you're going to get enough clients, and I understand. So let's talk about that first, client enrollment. So this spreadsheet is one that I'm going to give you so that you can copy the spreadsheet and use the formulas for yourself, use all the items for yourself if you want. Okay, you'll be able to get access to all of this for free. So let's look at the client enrollment tab first. And so first of all, the first column here, column A, is the activity. Okay, the activity, the things that you could do to enroll clients. Okay, and the column B is the total score based on all the different factors that matter to you. Okay, and this, of course, is a spreadsheet about my own preferences. This, you might call this the science of my preferences. And I really believe that we can use spreadsheets and sort of scientific tools, not scientific, but business type tools like this to get clear about our intuition. So let me say this again. Much of this spreadsheet is my own I'm scoring these things based on my own intuition, okay? How much I enjoy doing each thing. But then using the spreadsheet allows me to then scientifically look at my intuition to clarify, prioritize, oh, this is what I actually want to do. And this is why this makes the most sense for my business, so that I can ignore the other activities. Because right here on the spreadsheet, I have 22 ways for you to enroll people into your services, and I basically have prioritized those. So what are some of the factors that I've scored each item? I've scored it based on enjoyment. So enjoyment is basically how much do I love doing, how energized do I feel when I do this particular activity, even if there were no legacy benefits, even if there were no search engine benefits, even if it didn't help a single soul. How much do I feel energized and enjoy doing that activity? Okay. Now, of course, when I say even if it didn't help a single soul, that's not entirely true, because I really enjoy helping people, so I think that really comes into my enjoyment factor there as well. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect scoring, but it's it's good enough to help me prioritize. Okay. So, for example, if we took this one activity, in-person guest speaking. I love talking, giving lectures and giving workshops in person. I love doing it for free. So if you have a group in the Bay Area and you want me to speak for free, let me know. If it's a large enough group, if it's worth my time, because it'll probably take me an hour each way to commute by bus, because that's how I travel here. If it's worth my time, to speak to even 20 people, I'll probably do it. and if I can fit it into my schedule. So I love doing it. I love doing it. I just get energized by being in front of a group, and people love seeing me speak. Is what the feedback I've gotten. Okay, the second factor is it of service and not just selling? So even in the client enrollment spreadsheet, I'm looking at whether, whether I feel like I'm actually serving people while I am selling. And yes, the service is not the primary goal during client enrollment. The selling is, but it would be nice to have that benefit as well, right? Okay. The third fact, and of course, when I'm doing in-person guest speaking, I give. I really give my best. I put it all on the table, so to speak, so that people say, "Well, that was such a worthwhile talk." So absolutely, I give this a score of 2. Now, how am I scoring these things? I'm scoring them based on 0, 1, and 2. That's how I score things. 0 is no, there's no benefit at all. 1 is yes, there is a benefit for sure, and 2 is there is a way above average benefit. Okay, that's the maximum scores I can give something as a 2 here in the spreadsheet. Okay, the cost of my time. And when it comes to costs in terms of time and financial, I score it in terms of 0, -1, and -2. And of course, sometimes I do -0.5, -1.5, etc. So -1 is yes, it definitely costs time. -2, it's the cost maximum amount of time, okay, compared to other things. And in-person guest speaking does cost me a bit of time because travel one hour each way, Financial costs, I would say -0.5 because of maybe, the transportation costs, maybe I might bring some materials or whatever, okay? And notice that I have another column. Oh, well, let me go over that later, actually. Okay, the financial cost is the next factor, right? I think I've already just mentioned that. Sales cycle length. Sales cycle length is basically how long does it take from that activity to people actually buying, actually signing up for my program? How long does it take? Now, when it comes to in-person guest speaking, it's actually fairly quickly. I've had people I speak to who basically say, actually, every time I speak, people say, "Oh, I want to become your client." At least I have one person who does that in each audience. So I know that it's effective, and I know that it's quick. But of course, they can't sign up right then and there. Unless I bring, a computer and they can sign up right then and there. But so there's a little bit of sales cycle length, so I would say -0.5 for that. Enrollment effectiveness is maximum, so I give that a 2. Okay. You know what? I just realized something here. Given that I just said that client enrollment is focused on the selling and service is a nice benefit, I'm gonna redo these numbers just a little bit here, real quick. Okay. All right. So another activity is providing such awesome service that clients naturally refer new clients to me. And as you can see in my prioritization, that's priority number 2. It's extremely important. Okay, it's truly of service as well. I truly enjoy it. It does cost a lot of time because providing the service is costing, of course, a lot of my time is what I do to provide service. Okay. All right, so sales cycle length is a -2 there because to serve a client, it might take 3 to 12 months as I'm serving a client for them to finally say, you know what, I'm going to refer my friend Betty to you. Right, the sales cycle length is maximum there. So you can see the spreadsheet. I will give this to you later. You can analyze all these numbers yourself. Other activities that I listed here for client enrollment, including creating a peer referral network. A peer referral network. Now, I believe I did give a YouTube video about this, and it's somewhere about referrals. In my 50+ videos I've done, it's somewhere in there. So you might just want to search this channel for referral, the word referral, and you'll see my videos about that. But I may do another video in the future about doing a peer referral network. I have a mind map. In fact, let me see if I can find the mind map where Yes, the mind map is my authentic marketing mind map, and you can basically go to the enrollment, branch, and then go to your referral strategy, and then creating a peer. Oh, actually, I have a specific mind map on creating a peer referral network. So I will put that into the video description area, the link to that. Okay? Let's go back to client enrollment activities. Creating customized content for a referral partner's audience is very effective in getting clients. So things like guest blogging, being interviewed on a Google Hangout, being interviewed on a podcast, being interviewed on a webinar, and then, telling the audience giving the audience not only great content, but also how they can sign up for your services. Okay, doing a free one-to-one exploratory call, very effective. Well, you can certainly get more and more effective at it, but I think relative to other activities you do to sell services, that's quite effective. Okay, making sure your service is very well matched to the market's wants. Okay, very important and very helpful to make sure you are making good sales. And how do you match? It to the market's wants? Well, go to the Authentic Livelihood, Authentic Conscious Marketing Mind Map, and click on Matching, and I give you all of these strategies here for how to make a better match between your service and what the market wants. For example, describing what you do more effectively, making your offer more unique, doing niche mate research, etc., etc. So that's all here in the mind map. Okay. Other activities, split testing your sales page. Split testing your sales page, the tool that I recommend you look at is called optimizely.com. Optimizely.com. And just in my brief time researching split testing, this seems to be the most price-effective one to start with. There's another one called Visual Optimizer. I think it's called Visual Website Optimizer. That's also good, but Optimizely is a good one to start with. Okay. Making a mass announcement via your email list or via a social media boost promotion. Paying for social media posts to go up to the top or something like that. Mass announcement. Also very effective in getting the attention and making sure people know about your services and enrolling people into it. Asking your peers for referrals is another one. The other service providers that provide either a similar service to you, or provide a very different service but to the exact same audience that you do. Okay, so those are peers to you, and you can, if you get to know them, you can ask them for referrals, and they might ask you for referrals as well. Being helpful in comments, being helpful in groups, and then such as Facebook groups. Just as you look at people's postings, they might have questions, or they might just be saying something, and you are appreciative of them in the comments, or helping them with their question. And then as you become known in that group as being a helpful person, then you could, of course, build relationships with the people in the group by sending a private message to them and letting them know that you have the service, and if they seem to need your service, you can at least let them know about it and see if they want to refer you to other people, or if they themselves need it. Okay? There are many other client enrollment strategies here, including doing webinars, joint venturing, asking your clients specifically for referrals, improving the branding of your sales page and website, copywriting your headlines, personally reaching out through warm contacts, etc., etc., etc. So lots of them. Google ads, Facebook ads, etc. So those are all listed here as to give you ideas. And then let me show you how I get to the total score. The total score isn't just adding up the various things, like how much do I enjoy it, is it of service, how much time does it cost, financial cost, the sales cycle length, enrollment effectiveness, blah, blah, blah. It's not just adding them together. It's also taking into account the importance of each factor. So in this spreadsheet, what I recommend as you use this spreadsheet, by the way, when you come into the spreadsheet, how do you use it? You click on File and you click Make a Copy. So when you get to the link to the spreadsheet later, come into the spreadsheet, click on File, and then click Make a Copy. And then Google will make a copy. By the way, it assumes that you have a Google Drive account, which is free. Highly recommend signing up for Google Drive. It's free, and you have this wonderful tool. And you can just click on File, Make a Copy. Okay, so when you come in here, You may want to change these factors. It's totally up to you. But I also recommend that you choose how important each factor is to you. And again, I use a 0, 1, 2 importance. Okay, 0, 1, and 2 importance. And so enjoyment, even for client enrollment, is very important to me, because if I don't enjoy a particular activity, I'm less likely to be creative in doing it, and I'm less likely to even do it. So 2, maximum importance, I put a 2 there. Of service, not just selling, I put a 1 there because, again, this is client enrollment, so I'm really focused on selling. But I do like the benefit of having it also be of service, so I put a 1 there. The cost, how important is it that it costs my time? I put a 1 there. It's not maximum importance, but it is important. Financial cost, how important is that? Well, if something is effective, I don't think it's that important. If it costs me some money to get more clients, that's good to me. So I put 0.5 for how important the financial cost is. Sales cycle length, how important is it? I put a 1 because I don't mind if someone takes a while to finally become my client. If they're an ideal client, that's more important to me. So that's why I put sales cycle length as 1. And enrollment effectiveness, how important is that? Well, that's a 2, because if something is not effective in enrolling people, then why the heck am I doing it? So I put a maximum there of a 2. The total score is a formula of this enjoyment score times how important it is, plus the of-service score times how important that is, plus the cost of my time score plus how important the cost of my time is, blah, blah, blah. So the score automatically puts all of that together. Same thing with everything. Okay? The spreadsheet is smart enough where if you just put these numbers in the right places and you copy this formula, and then paste the formula, it will give you the correct scoring. And after you get the correct scoring, then you can click on B, and then, okay, by the way, you have to make this work, you have to scroll all the way to the left, and then click on B, and then click on this drop-down menu next to B, and then sort this by Z to A. And then when you sort by Z to A versus A to Z, if you sort by A to Z, you're looking at the least important activities. At least this is for me. If you sort by Z to A, okay, now these are the most important activities for me. And I basically put a boundary. I say that, you know what? These are the activities. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm giving myself 10 client enrollment activities. That's a lot already. I don't recommend that you start with 10. I mean, you might want to try out a bunch of them just to see if you enjoy it, but really settle on maybe 3 to 5 once you know something is effective, and really, really get good at it. Because I'm a marketing expert and I've been doing this for 6 years, I can go up to 10 and still be quite effective at it. And maybe I'm kidding myself. Maybe I should do less. But I say 10 here, and so I basically click on this activity. This is the 10th activity here. I click on the number here, and then I do the border, and I put a bottom border on it. So basically, it reminds me that I don't want to. I'm going to ignore joint ventures for now. I'm going to ignore even asking clients for referrals. Okay, I'm going to ignore doing webinars to try to sell my programs and services. Interestingly, I'm actually in process of doing branding and copywriting of my sales page and website. So I'm actually already in process of doing that. But in the future, I'm going to really try to ignore that more. And in fact, I'm going to focus on doing these other things. Okay? Let's go on to the next tab, which is content creation. Content creation is the thing you do to fulfill your soul in your business and in marketing even, to fulfill the purpose of your legacy. Okay? When you die, in the long run, in the long view of your life, people aren't going to care how many clients you had. Okay? But people will care about your content. People will care about what kind of legacy you left. So this content creation, I believe, is as important as client enrollment. Okay, in the short term, maybe client enrollment is more important to you and you need to spend more time doing that right now. But in the long run, content creation is far more important. Look at your life, not just in the span of your life. Look at your life in terms of the 10,000-year view of how important was your life in the history of humanity. And if you look at your life in that way, I guarantee you, you will have more energy to do the things that matter the most. Okay? So that's how I look at my life. And I had a video, episode number 50 of Our Highest Work was about, actually, no, I'm sorry, maybe it wasn't episode 50. It might have been episode 55. Well, look at the episode about life priorities, 7 questions to determine life priorities. Okay? Watch that episode because it will motivate, it will inspire you to look at your life in a longer view and give you more fulfillment in your life in every way. All right? So here is how I factor in what are the factors for me to determine how important my content creation is. Enjoyment, of course, is very important, so that's a factor. Is it only what I can do, or am I doing things that other people can easily copy or that I can easily delegate? Okay? All right. Versus delegate or copyable. Okay. Okay. Now, the third factor is time. How much time does it cost? For helping 100 people, how much time does it take? Now, this is, again, this is intuitive. It's not a scientific scoring, but I think the intuition is helpful. Financial cost. How much cost does it take? Some things take financial cost because I want to send my video to a transcriptionist and have a copy editor also, you know, make my text better. Okay, raw material. Okay, what I mean by raw material is how helpful is this activity at helping me create raw material for my content and for my legacy? So, for example, doing long YouTube videos like this is very helpful for me because I tend to think out loud. I tend to think in terms of how I talk. When I talk, I think at the same time. So this is very helpful for me to create raw material for my legacy. Okay. Am I helping people while I'm here? Now, I would say that for YouTube long videos, I am not really helping people all that much because not that many people like watching long YouTube videos. Each of my YouTube videos maybe only gets, you know, if I'm lucky, it gets 100 views, right? So it doesn't really help that many people. So I would put a 0.5 there. But for the people who do watch it, it does help them quite a bit. So I'll just put a 0.5 here. Short-term search engine optimization. How helpful is a YouTube long video for search engine optimization? I would put it 1. It's helpful because of the headline of the video, the title of the video. It's also extremely helpful for the YouTube video description, but I put that as a separate thing because most of my YouTube videos don't have very well thought out video descriptions. But that is an extremely helpful search engine optimization thing. So I just put a 1 here. Memorial. Now this may sound strange, but this is interesting, right? When you have your memorial service, when people memorialize you in the immediate days, months, and years after you pass, after you discarnate from this life, those days, months, and years are incredibly important for your long-term legacy because people will be writing about you. People will be maybe making videos about you, how important you were to them. Maybe people, again, they will be writing about you, blogging about you, or creating content about you when in the immediate days, months, and years after you pass. So those days, months, and years are, of course, important for the longest term value. So I would call, that's why I put that as a separate category, your memorial. I look at it as basically, what do I want, well, anyway, so that's I'll go on here. And then finally, the long-term search. Okay, I've been studying the work, recently studying the work of Ray Kurzweil. I highly recommend you look him up on Wikipedia. Ray Kurzweil, Kurzweil. He is a prolific inventor and quite an accurate predictor of the future. So here's what I recommend that you do. Go to Google and say type in Ray Kurzweil predictions Wikipedia, because there's a Wikipedia article on predictions made by Ray Kurzweil. If you read this Wikipedia article, you will get so inspired by what is possible for the future. And Ray Kurzweil has been he has been way above average in his accuracy of predictions. So take a look at these predictions he has for the future. Now, some of these things he's predicted for 2009 hasn't yet come to pass, but they will very likely come to pass probably within 10 years. Okay, so check that out. It's very inspiring and mind-boggling even. So what Ray Kurzweil says and other futurists say is that in the long term, probably in the next 100 years, given the current rate of technology growth, there will be artificial intelligence that is smarter than human beings. And get this, artificial intelligence will be so incredibly brilliant and smart and have such vast computational power that it will be able to scan and understand everything that has ever been created on the web, all YouTube videos, all blog posts, etc. And they will be able to create virtual versions, artificial intelligence versions of you. So whether or not you believe in an afterlife, you will be memorialized in the long term in virtual versions of you. Okay? Or at least all of the things you put on YouTube and blog about on free blogging services that stand the test of time, such as blogspot.com, which is Google's blogging service, will be considered for artificial intelligence and for long-term search. So I really see that as really obviously extremely important for legacy purposes. So anyway, I'm going to end this video fairly soon here, but I want to just read out loud some of the activities that will be helpful for legacy creation. Your Facebook timeline. Facebook is probably not going to go away anytime soon, and even if Facebook goes away, it's probably not going to be for at least 5 or 10 years. And by that point, there will be enough artificial intelligence to really crawl and capture all the information that's publicly available. So I really should clarify here. I would just say my public Facebook timeline. The things you post publicly on Facebook. Okay. Another legacy creator is being interviewed on YouTube. So if you approach people who have YouTube channels and ask them, especially if you have something and that has really great relevance for their audience, you really believe, and it's not something they talk about, and you and they have struck out a good friendship, they may be willing to interview you on a YouTube video. Okay, and YouTube is not going away anytime soon. YouTube is here for the long haul. Google is here for the long haul. So all the things that are publicly available on YouTube are going to be, it's going to be part of history, right? So being interviewed on Google Hangout. I really enjoy it. Actually, I'm going to put it too. I really enjoyed being interviewed on Google Hangout. So if you have a YouTube channel and you want to interview me, let me know. I will probably say yes. Okay, depending on the size of your channel. But even if you have a, if you have a, even if you have 30 subscribers on your YouTube channel, I probably will say yes to being interviewed by you. So, doing YouTube long videos, just like this one, where I'm interviewing myself, right? Being interviewed on audio podcasts. Okay, I put that quite high up based on my scoring here. Doing short YouTube videos. So by short, I mean under 4 minutes long, and ideally around 2 minutes long. Okay, mentoring people for free. I am trying to create a movement where everybody who loves to coach and mentor will mentor 3 people for free, and having those 3 people mentor 3 people for free, etc. Check out www.mentor3.org, or maybe if you Google Mentor3. Let me see here. Try Googling Mentor3 George Kao. Yes, Google Mentor3 George Kao, and you'll probably find that post where I talk about that. Okay, Google Plus postings, your public postings on Google Plus. Being helpful in comments and groups, especially public groups, like public Facebook groups and public Google Plus groups. In fact, I should clarify that. And being helpful in public comments and public groups. Okay, YouTube video descriptions. Now this is a really big one that I'm probably going to do a separate video at some point, but I will just tell you right now really briefly. It's really, really important for Google search engine what you put in the description area of your YouTube video that you upload. And you can have, as far as my research goes, you can have up to 850 words. I've been able to put 848 or something like that words in YouTube video descriptions, and as a result, those YouTube videos show up really, really high in Google search results and YouTube search results. By the way, for those of you who don't know, YouTube is the #2 most popular search engine on the internet. It's not Bing. Google, of course, is the #1 search engine in terms of how many people use it. Google's #1. #2 is not Bing. It's not Yahoo. Okay, it's not, you know, other smaller search engines. It's YouTube.com. Okay, it's #2 search engine. Okay. MindMeister, mind maps, you know, I put that quite high up for me because I really enjoy doing it. It's only what I can do versus delegate. It helps me to create raw material, very, very helpful for me to do that. In-person guest speaking, doing lecture, workshop is also very helpful, I think, very helpful to create legacy. I really should clarify this. Where it's being videoed and uploaded to YouTube. Okay. Creating great headlines, okay, for your content, quite important. Doing epic blog posts on Medium and Blogspot. If you're gonna write blog posts, you might as well not only put it on your website, but also put it on blogging websites that will stand the test of time. Here's what I mean. When you die, is your family gonna keep paying for your web hosting? My family, I don't know, probably not. I mean, they might pay for it for a few years in memorial, but after that, you know, eventually it's going to go away. So put your content on websites that are being paid by, like, Google or other, you know, free. Blogspot.com. Blogspot.com, okay, is Google's blogging platform. It's free, and it's probably going to be around for hundreds of years or more. Medium.com is an up-and-coming platform that I think is going to be long-term as well, because it was created by the people who created Twitter. Okay? Doing image quotes, doing Kindle ebooks, posting your content on Facebook Notes, doing guest blogging, posting on Twitter, okay? Updating your Facebook About page, About section on your Facebook, doing LinkedIn blogging, Google plus About page, etc., etc., etc. I have other things here. I have 26 ways for you to create content and share that content with the world. Now, one of those things is uploading my content onto an audio podcast. And I will tell you, I had a great wake-up moment when I did the scoring. Because do I enjoy, I mean, do I love doing these long YouTube videos? Yes, of course I do. But do I love the task of uploading it to, actually, you know what, I'm sorry. I do kind of enjoy having my, no, I'm going to put a 2. I do enjoy having my audio, my podcast on iTunes and on mobile, etc. I really, really do enjoy it. But is it only what I can do? No, I can easily delegate this. Well, okay, all right, I have, I can, oh, I do have to oversee some of it to make sure. No, that's not true. Okay, so you see, I'm like scoring it right now again. So is it only what I can do? No, I can easily delegate this to other people. How much time does it take me? Well, it takes me about an hour each week to upload 2 episodes because I have to do the video descriptions, etc., etc. I guess if I totally delegated, it would take me less time. Financial cost. It costs me $30 a month just for the audio podcast hosting with Libsyn, because I have a mobile app as well for my audio and podcast, and Libsyn takes care of that. So it takes $30 a month for me to do this. Raw material. Well, it doesn't help me create raw material by uploading the podcast. I do this through the YouTube. Is it helping people while I'm here? Yes, I do. I have heard from people and that it's been helping them. Some people say it helps a lot. So that's a 2. That's a maximum score. Short-term search engine optimization. When I say short-term, I really mean in the next year, in the next 5 years. Okay. It really, really doesn't help. I've never heard people say, hey, I found your podcast. Actually, no, if I think about iTunes as a search engine, I would put a 1 there. Okay, but it's not amazing. It's just pretty good. Memorial, 0, because my podcast requires the payment, right? When I'm gone, my family isn't likely to keep paying for my audio podcast hosting. I guess you might say, well, George, in your will you could make it such that your family pays a certain amount out of your legacy for audio podcast hosting. But here's the main point. When I stop paying Libsyn for the audio podcast hosting, all of my iTunes podcast, my mobile app, it all goes away. There's no archive of it for free. So it really does go away. And so I realized after doing all the scoring that it ranks very low compared to the other things I could do to create a legacy. So for that reason, I'm gonna use my time more wisely, right, to do that. I'm gonna show you right now real quick. I realize I should show you real quick here that I have taken these items, content creation, client enrollment, and I have put it in my schedule. Okay, I put it in my schedule, kind of like a time template. Including breaks, I work 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, so that's 50 hours a week. But of course, my breaks are 11.25 hours per week is my breaks, like lunch break, taking my dog on a walk, etc., etc. Okay, so I have a time budget here. When do I serve my clients? When do I do my free legacy stuff? When do I have my maintenance, like my checking my email, things like that? When do I have my enrollment activities? Okay, so I have a time budget here showing you here on this video. You can take a look at this later if you're interested. It's also publicly available, so I will give you a link to this so you can come here and click on File and click Make a Copy and try this for yourself as well. Finally, on this priority grid, I have another tab called Most Important Content. Most important content is basically I looked at all of my blog posts and all of my YouTube videos, and I basically put here the posts and videos that my audience has said is most helpful. And when I say audience vote, I mean based on the number of shares, the number of likes, and the number of views. And I score this based on 3, 2, and 1. 3 would be number 1. So this is my number 1 blog post. It's a system for email productivity, and my number 1 YouTube video, in terms of what people say was helpful, was my Q&A session on launching a business. So that's why these have a 3. My own vote. What do I think is the most important content? Okay, and I would put a 2 if it's something I would want to distribute at my funeral. I would put a 1 if it's quite good and it has potential to be distributed at my funeral. And 0 is I don't really feel it has much lasting value. Okay, and then the total score would just basically be the addition of those 2. So the reason I do this is basically I would ask you a question: if your audience could only consume 10 minutes of your content, what would you want them to consume? Okay, second question. If your audience, whether in history or today, were only to be able to consume 1 hour of your content, what would you want them to consume? And what about 10 hours of your content? What would you want them to consume? So that's those questions are what I use to determine sort of what I put here in this most important content tab. Okay, and the other purpose for this tab is basically eventually I may write a book, okay, and I would basically come back to this tab and use this content to write my book. Another purpose for it is that this is the stuff that either my audience or I have found the most helpful of what I have created on Earth in my life thus far in terms of my content. And so I will want to keep making this better and better and better and better. Okay, better and better and better and better, so that I can keep improving on these things, so it becomes truly worthwhile in the face of history and for my legacy. So I'm just going to keep coming back to, for example, I'm going to keep coming back to this blog post. Once a year, I'm going to just rewrite it. I'm going to make improvements to it so that it's really crisp and useful and worth reading, basically. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end the episode, and I really look forward to your questions, your comments. Did you find this episode helpful? Was anything confusing I could clarify? And I, most of all, so appreciate that you have, well, let me just say a note to those who have been listening to the audio podcast. I will, of course, keep my audio podcast up for maybe a couple more months for people to download all the episodes. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, please download all the episodes so that you have on your, you have it for keeps. And thank you for being part of my audio podcast audience up to this point and supporting me in this way. And for those who are watching my YouTube video, I'm going to keep making more YouTube videos. I'm actually going to keep making long videos here in this channel called Our Highest Work. And I'm going to start making a bunch of short videos on just a single concept each, short videos 2 to 4 minutes long on my George Cow YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe there and start getting my short videos, go to youtube.com/GeorgeCow. So with that, as I always like to end the episode by reminding you that you are profoundly loved by God. If you don't like the word God, replace it with higher power or source. But you are profoundly loved by God. God is present with you every moment of every day, closer to you than your next heartbeat. God loves you more than even your parents do, loves you more than anybody in this world does, and wants the very best for you, and knows how to get the very best for you. And God is omnipotent, so God is guiding you. For sure, you have total security in your life because God is guiding you, bringing opportunities to you, always shaping your life for your highest good. So until our next episode, keep your thoughts positive and keep your heart open. Be well.